I think going to go to the Clive Davis party. There was this sort of party where apparently half the room were in tears, the other half were kind of partying. What did you feel about that?
I thought that was complete insanity.
Clive Davis has consistently been in the headlines from issues involving substance abuse to controversial mentorship of artists. Recent rumors suggest that Davis sought to remove the legendary queen of funk Chaka Khan from the industry. Allegedly, this action was prompted by Khan publicly exposing Davis and his questionable conduct within the music industry. Chaka Khan is renowned for her bold and outspoken persona, never shying away from addressing issues she feels strongly about. One notable instance was when she criticized Clive Davis for hosting a party at the Beverly Hilton just hours after the sudden death of Whitney Houston. During an interview on CNN's Piers Morgan Tonight, Khan expressed disbelief and disapproval, calling Davis's action complete insanity.
There was this sort of party where apparently half the room were in tears, the other half were kind of partying. What did you feel about that?
I thought that was complete insanity.
In her candid remarks, Khan reflected on Whitney Houston's character, suggesting that Houston would not have wanted the show to go on under those circumstances. Khan's critique highlighted the insensitivity of hosting such an event in the same building where Houston had passed away, especially considering the profound impact Davis had on Houston's life and career.
I don't know what could motivate a person to have a party in a building where the person whose life he had influenced so enormously and whose life had been affected by her.
The 10-time Grammy Award winner had originally intended to attend Clive Davis's annual party, but was deeply affected upon learning of Whitney Houston's death upon arriving in Los Angeles. Chaka Khan expressed feeling paralyzed by the news. She also criticized the decision to have Houston in Los Angeles for a full week before her pre-Grammy performance, particularly given Houston's history with addiction.
And knowing Whitney, I don't believe that she would have said, the show must go on. She was the kind of woman that would say, stop everything.
Reflecting on her own experiences as a recovering addict, Khan emphasized the importance of proper planning and support for individuals in recovery. She believed it was a mistake for Houston to be in Los Angeles so far in advance of her performance without adequate support or treatment. Khan further suggested that those responsible for bringing Houston to the city for the performance should have taken better measures to ensure her safety and well-being, emphasizing the need to keep potentially harmful influences away from her. Clive Davis wields significant influence in the music industry as one of the most powerful figures. Davis played a crucial role in giving Puff Daddy his start in establishing Bad Boy Records, but his most notable achievement was discovering Whitney Houston.
My spending time with her when the picture was inescapable. There were two times, one live, where she came to my home, where we had a personal.
It's fascinating to consider Clive Davis's pivotal role in Whitney Houston's rise to superstardom. He recognized her exceptional talent and wholesome imagery, which contributed greatly to her success. Davis's influence in guiding her career undoubtedly impacted his own financial success, as his net worth reportedly soared to nearly $800 million. However, as Whitney Houston navigated the complexities of the music industry, she faced profound challenges. In her candid 2002 interview with Diane Sawyer, Houston revealed unsettling experiences and personal struggles, shedding light on the darker side of the industry. Her words and demeanor during the interview conveyed a sense of unease and caution, revealing the depth of her inner struggles and challenges.
It was rough. It was rough. I think I kind of reverted back as I got older and said, well, I'm just gonna party, you know? It was kind of a rebel in me.
During an interview, she raised concerns about her dispute with Clive Davis and hinted at a potential conspiracy against her. By divulging industry secrets, she inadvertently made herself vulnerable to exploitation. Exploiting her struggles with addiction and other vulnerabilities, some sought to undermine her credibility and diminish the impact of her revelations. The news of her unexpected passing came as a profound shock, especially given the circumstances leading up to it. It was a tragic turn of events that deeply affected the music world. Unfortunately, like many artists in the entertainment industry, she faced challenges with addiction. Her ongoing struggles, coupled with declining health, overshadowed her career until they ultimately led to her untimely demise.
It's my heart. It's what I want and what I don't want. Nobody makes me do anything I don't want to do.
The tragic event unfolded on February 11, 2012, the day before the Grammy Awards. On that day, Whitney Houston, accompanied by her family and friends, checked into the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Los Angeles, where many music industry figures had gathered for the Grammys. It was a tradition for Clive Davis, Houston's mentor, to host a pre-Grammy party. As preparations for the evening's festivities were underway, Whitney Houston's assistant, Mary Jones, briefly left the room after arranging Houston's dress on the bed. Upon her return, Jones discovered Houston unconscious and face down in a water-filled bathtub. Despite efforts to revive her, Houston was tragically pronounced dead at 3:55 p.m. at the scene, marking a sorrowful moment for the music world.
Happened here at 3:43 yesterday afternoon when a member of Houston's entourage located her body inside this hotel. So far, police and the coroner are refusing to.
During the investigation into Whitney Houston's death, police discovered an open champagne bottle and a spoon with a white crystal-like substance near her. Additionally, various medications, including an antidepressant, a muscle relaxant, and allergy medication were found in her system during the autopsy. The coroner's report, released weeks later, cited heart disease, de-use, and accidental drowning as contributing factors to her passing. However, Houston also had a mild case of emphysema, which affected her breathing and contributed to the decline of her powerful voice. In the wake of Houston's death, there was much speculation about her personal life explored in films, documentaries, and biopics released both before and after her passing. Despite the scrutiny, Houston's musical talent and soulful voice remained her enduring legacy. Clive Davis, on the other hand, is highly respected in the music industry for his role as a producer and talent nurturer. He is celebrated for his ability to work with diverse artists and create musical masterpieces that have left a lasting impact. Davis's innovative practices and contributions have firmly established him as a pivotal figure in shaping the modern music landscape.
Consistent with what you're writing about, you could go from one side of the stage to the other.
However, there is another perspective on Clive Davis that casts him in a more complex and controversial light. Some voices suggest a darker side to his persona, painting a nuanced and contrasting picture. Critics describe him as one of the music industry's early gay gatekeepers, allegedly exerting influence through manipulation and calculated actions. These claims portray him as a strategic operator who works behind the scenes, orchestrating moves that go beyond public view, depicting him as a cold-blooded manipulator.
He needed her back, but he needed her back and under his control.
Within the intricate tapestry of the music world, Clive Davis occupies a dual role. Revered as a legendary figure, he is also cloaked in speculative whispers, emblematic of the complex nature of the entertainment realm. His alleged mentorship of Diddy adds another layer to his enigmatic persona.
Most likely because he was victimized by his mentor, who loved to control people.
Clive, known for his acclaimed musical productions, now finds himself at the center of discussions regarding his romantic life. Following 2 marriages and divorces, Clive embarked on a journey of self-discovery, openly exploring the possibility of being attracted to men as well.
What you had never publicly talked about was the fact that you'd had a relationship with a man and then several men.
During this period of self-reflection, Clive came to the realization that his SO was not exclusively hetero-S, marking a significant departure from the convictions he held during the first 5 decades of his life. In his memoir, The Soundtrack of My Life, Clive Davis recounts his early experiences exploring his S during the Studio 54 era while married to his second spouse, Janet Adelberg. Davis reflects on an encounter with a man during this time influenced by substances, which prompted a period of introspection and self-discovery. After separating from Adelberg in 1985, Davis entered into relationships with individuals of various genders and has since been in 2 enduring relationships with male partners starting from 1990. He has spoken openly about his orientation, emphasizing that one doesn't have to fit into strict labels of S, expressing attraction to both men and women. Regarding the controversy surrounding his involvement with Whitney Houston's life and death, Davis has faced allegations and speculation, especially given his close association with Houston and the circumstances surrounding her tragic passing. The media scrutiny intensified following Houston's divorce from Bobby Brown in 2006, amidst accusations of abuse and a turbulent relationship documented in interviews with Oprah Winfrey in 2009.
The talk was I was with her because I needed something from her. All I needed was her to love herself the way I loved her.
Following her divorce from Bobby Brown, Whitney Houston made efforts to rehabilitate her public image. While Brown moved on, remarrying and expanding his family with his manager Alicia Etheridge, they married in 2012, just months after Houston's tragic death at the age of 48. Despite the tumultuous nature of their relationship, there was a deep and enduring love between them. Brown was visibly emotionally touched upon hearing of Houston's passing, as witnessed during a performance and reported by The Hollywood Reporter.
If I could get those 2 days back.
Contrary to common belief, Whitney Houston's struggles with substance abuse were not solely attributed to her relationship with Bobby Brown. Robin Crawford, Houston's close friend and confidant, revealed that signs of problematic D-use were evident in Houston before she met Brown. In an NBC interview promoting her book, A Song for You, My Life with Whitney Houston, Crawford disclosed details about Houston's history of D-use. Crawford, who was also reportedly Houston's lover, recounted how she would caution Houston against D-use, reminding her that it was not conducive to their goals. Despite Crawford's warnings, Houston continued to struggle with stopping her D-use. Crawford and Houston first met as teenagers in 1980 and had an intimate relationship that later evolved into a deep friendship. Despite ending their romantic involvement in 1983 due to concerns about Houston's career, Crawford remained a significant figure in Houston's life, serving as her personal assistant, roommate, and even maid of honor at Houston's wedding to Bobby Brown in '92. Crawford's book clarifies that Houston had engaged in D-use before her relationship with Brown began. This challenges the public perception that Brown introduced Houston to D. Crawford acknowledged that while Houston was not consistently using D, there were occasions when she would partake, sometimes excessively. Whitney Houston tragically passed away in 2012, with D-use listed as a contributing factor in her death. D paraphernalia was found at the scene, highlighting the ongoing struggle that Houston faced with substance abuse throughout her life.
I didn't get into really heavy until I met Whitney, but it destroys people.
Crawford vehemently denied the persistent accusations that Brown was responsible for Houston's struggles with substance abuse, clarifying that he did not introduce her to D, and dismissing the idea that he contributed to her downfall. Meanwhile, speculation surrounding Clive Davis's involvement in Houston's death gained attention, particularly after Davis revealed he was the last person with Houston before her passing. Davis, a highly influential figure in the music industry, is renowned for his achievements, notably founding Arista Records and signing numerous successful artists. He played a key role in launching Bad Boy Records with Puffy, but his most significant discovery was Whitney Houston, as we've mentioned.
My spending time with her when the picture was inescapable. There were two times, one live, where she came to my home, where we had a personal...
There are widespread beliefs among many people that Clive Davis was the one who introduced her to D, especially considering his history, which has often involved allegations related to D dealings. A civil suit filed against Mr. Davis highlighted evidence suggesting that another individual, Mr. Winshaw, had allegedly misused the company's funds. Mr. Winshaw was summoned before the Newark grand jury and subsequently discharged by Columbia on April 10, 1973. According to Brown's account of the significant day, he witnessed Whitney snorting C before the ceremony, and she purportedly offered him some as well. Brown claims to have declined, as detailed in his autobiography, Every Little Step My Story. However, this incident marked only the initial encounter with D for the couple. Despite the challenges, they managed to sustain successful careers and celebrated the birth of their only child together, Bobby Christina, in '93.
So it's not a mystery to me. The same thing that happened to my daughter is what happened to Whitney. There's only one person that was around both occasions.
Both admitted to using D and consuming A, but this aspect of their lives remained concealed and only came to light years later. In the 2000s, when Whitney started making headlines, many speculated that it was likely Brown's influence that led to her struggles, given their vastly different media perceptions. However, it was revealed that Houston's substance use had begun years before she met Brown, a fact confirmed by her brother after her death. During their marriage, both Whitney and Bobby found themselves entangled with D-related incidents. The first notable headline emerged when Houston was discovered in possession of M in Hawaii in '01. Subsequently, numerous stories about the singer's legal troubles shed light on a habit she had managed to keep hidden for years. Brown, too, had his share of encounters with the law, facing arrests for D-possession and reckoning with legal issues from his past in '03, as reported by CNN. That year proved to be eventful for the couple, with D dominating much of the news surrounding them, and a domestic violence incident further exacerbating their troubles. Despite Brown being charged with battery for A. Houston, the couple remained together, and it became increasingly evident that their relationship was toxic.
County authorities here in the Atlanta area have filed a domestic violence battery charge against R&B singer Bobby Brown.
The pressures of fame took a toll on Houston. In '02, a year after being caught with D, she made a notable appearance on the interview show Primetime with Diane Sawyer. The infamous interview featured a stunning admission where Houston discussed her D use and coined the memorable phrase, "C is whack." By 2004, her D use had escalated, leading her to voluntarily admit herself to rehab for a few days as reported by Entertainment Weekly. A year later, she returned to rehab for a second time.
Is it alcohol? Is it marijuana? Is it cocaine? Is it pills?
It has been, at times.
The spotlight on Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown's tumultuous relationship intensified when they became the focus of the reality show Being Bobby Brown, premiering on the Bravo network in 2005. The show captured their lives over a few months the previous year. While the series primarily aimed to showcase Brown's career and personal life, Whitney Houston played a significant role. Brown hoped that revealing this side of his life would alter the public's perception of him, but Being Bobby Brown had the opposite effect. The reality show proved to be a disaster for the couple who at that time could have benefited from positive public imagery. The cameras seemed to exacerbate their public image issues, and the show did not return for another season. Within about a year, their separation loomed on the horizon. All the things mixed. Clive got the chance and introduced her to Dee's. Just a theory. One of her fans wrote, quote, "Whitney's death was a ritual. She was sacrificed and they celebrated her death at that party." Another one added, "It never made sense to me that someone who mentored her would proceed to celebrate after the biggest star he ever signed died in the same hotel." Moreover, there was a lawsuit filed by Columbia alleged that Mr. Davis had utilized company funds to renovate his Central Park West apartment and to host an extravagant bar mitzvah reception. Mr. Winshaw was also implicated in the misuse of funds, according to the suit. In recent interviews, numerous music industry insiders referred to one executive at Columbia Records who was commonly known as the House Pimp. Clive was Mr. Super Straight, Mr. Dignity, while this other guy was Gotcha, the one who got whatever an artist wanted. A former Columbia Records employee said, "If an artist came to town and wanted a hooker or grass or whatever, he went to him." "There's somebody like that at most pop record companies," said a leading executive in the industry. "I don't know how many companies are involved, but if one is, they're all doing it. When somebody says we need 6 broads or 8 bags, somebody's got to do it." A former assistant to Clive J. Davis, the ousted president of Columbia Records, was reportedly questioned by a federal grand jury in Newark in connection with an interstate D investigation, according to sources familiar with the case. Mr. Davis, who was dismissed and accused of misappropriating nearly $94,000 in corporate funds by the Columbia Broadcasting System, CBS, in a civil lawsuit, was also summoned to testify before the grand jury, though his scheduled appearance was postponed. A spokesperson for CBS strongly denied any connection between Dee and Mr. Davis's dismissal. Mr. Davis, his attorney Vincent Broderick, a former New York City police commissioner, and David Winshaw, Mr. Davis's assistant, could not be reached for comment. The United States Attorney's Office in Newark declined to provide details on the grand jury investigation. Additionally, federal agents reportedly visited the offices of both Columbia Records and Paramount Records as part of the Dee investigation. 8 individuals were indicted in federal court in Newark on conspiracy and smuggling charges reportedly linked to a multi-million-dollar H-ring operating across Italy, Canada, and the United States, which also included Clive Davis. Now it is also believed that Clive may have introduced Dee's to Chaka as well. Chaka Khan, reflecting on Whitney Houston's public struggle with DA and hearing about Dee found at Bobby Christina's home, expressed feeling let down and wished Whitney was still alive to support her daughter. Chaka herself has battled DA and AA, influenced by her father's heroin use. She nearly died after mixing sleeping pills with C and struggled with AA until the early 2000s. After an injury, she became dependent on painkillers but has been committed to staying clean since the middle of 2013. Chaka refers to herself as an ex-addict, acknowledging that while Dee once enhanced her experiences, life changes have shifted her perspective. She said, quote, "I call myself an ex-addict. For years I was having fun and it all made fun more fun for me. But life changes." Chaka Khan and her sister both also entered a D rehabilitation program to address their addictions to prescription D. Khan disclosed that the deaths of her close friends like Whitney Houston and Prince played a significant role in motivating her to seek help. She revealed that she was struggling with an addiction to the same medication that contributed to Prince's death. Prince passed away on April 21st, with an autopsy revealing that he died from an overdose of fentanyl, a potent opioid painkiller. Khan's acknowledgement of her addiction and her decision to seek treatment underscores the serious impact of substance abuse within the music industry and highlights the importance of seeking help to combat addiction. Quote, "Unfortunately, I will miss concert appearances over the summer," said Khan. "However, it's vital that I put my health and well-being first. I know that I am disappointing some of my fans, but I also know that they would want me to recover and be well and healthy." Khan said the pair, quote, "agreed we would take this journey together and support each other through the recovery." She continued, quote, "The tragic death of Prince experience has had us both rethinking and reevaluating our lives and priorities. We knew it was time to take action to save our lives. My sister and I would like to thank everyone for their support, love, and prayers. So this is how Clive has seemingly used Chaka Khan and Whitney Houston to meet his greed of fame and money.